Hello, and welcome to Kathy's Eclectic Garden. I'm Kathy, and I garden in Zone 6A in Northwest Ohio. During the next few weeks, I will be talking about plants that you should consider adding to your 2024 garden to attract pollinators. Your flowering plants and vegetables benefit from the pollinators in your garden. In fact, without pollinators, your plants would not produce any fruits or vegetables. In other words, these plants are good choices to add to your garden if they grow well in your hardiness zone. So let's dive in. Phlox Paniculata is today's topic, and it's hardy in zones 4 through 8. It is sometimes called garden phlox, fall phlox, or tall phlox. Jeana Tall Phlox, a native cultivar, is the one that we'll be showing in this video. Tall phlox is native in the Midwest and eastern United States. It's a herbaceous wildflower, and it blooms from late summer to early fall and has a slightly sweet fragrance. It was discovered by Jenna Pruitt along the Harpeth River in Nashville, Tennessee. Here are some young plants from 2023. This video was taken on April the 28th. You can see how they are growing in small clumps from the 3 original plants. These should probably be divided this year, since it's recommended to divide Jeana Tall Phlox every 3 to 5 years, and mine are long overdue. Jeana Tall Phlox grows best in full sun but can tolerate partial shade. As you can see in this clip, it has bright green oblong pointed leaves that last throughout the season. I usually side dress mine with some compost early in the spring and add a little time-release all-purpose fertilizer. It grows well in average well-draining soil and prefers average consistent soil moisture. Mulch can help keep the soil evenly moist, and I like to use shredded leaves to mulch my plants. Last year, on July 16th, the phlox was about 4 feet tall. These plants grow on stiff stems and don't usually need to be staked, but since I live in a very windy area, you may notice the metal trellis in this video. In high winds during a heavy rain, they can get blown over. These plants were cut back by about 1/3 in late May to control their height. You can see the buds just starting to form on this plant in mid-July. The dark lavender pink tubular flowers form fluffy, round to kind of oval-shaped panicles at the top of the stems. They're highly attractive to hummingbirds, butterflies, bees, hummingbird moths, and other small pollinating insects. Watch to the end and I'll show you some of the many visitors that come to my Jeana Tall Phlox. Some varieties of phlox are susceptible to powdery mildew, but I've never had an issue with it on my Jeana Tall Phlox. In fact, I've not had any disease or pest issues with this plant. Purple Speedwell, Millennium Allium, and New Jersey Tea planted near my phlox go well together and also help attract the pollinators. If you're not a fan of butterfly bushes, Jeana Tall Phlox may be just the plant for you. It looks very much like the butterfly bush, and in my experience, it attracts butterflies and other pollinators just as well. It's a prolific bloomer, as you can see, and makes a beautiful statement in my garden. You can see what a bold statement 3 of these plants can make in your garden. They are between 4 to 5 feet tall. The trellis I mentioned earlier can be seen in the center of this clip. They also were starting to fall over in the pathway, so I put up a metal fence section along this area. I bought several sections of fence on sale last fall to be used for this purpose wherever they're needed. This looks like a really good place to start. In this close-up shot, you'll notice that there is a dark circle in the center of each flower. This is the entrance to the tubular section of the flowers and what the hummingbirds and butterflies like. This is Jeana Tall Phlox, and it still has one little flower hanging on here the end of October, but the rest of the plant has pretty well died off. These are all seeds. The birds like these seeds, especially the goldfinches, but also see woodpeckers, chickadees, wrens, the house and Carolina wrens, and also nuthatches will eat these seeds. This will stay tall like this most all winter, and it's a good cover for the birds, and it makes a good habitat for native insects, a place for them to nest and hide. Some of these seeds, the ones that the birds don't get, will drop off onto the ground and create new plants. And I've got several plants in my garden that do self-seed. This is just one of the many.
self-seeders.
It's March the 1st, 2024. We are in the hummingbird haven area of the garden where the Jeana Tall Phlox is planted. I leave this plant standing in the fall. The birds love to feed on the seed heads, and it leaves some cover for the base of the plant, a haven for the pollinators to rest in over the winter. But in about 4 weeks from now, I'm going to be cutting this back, and I cut it back almost to the ground. You can see here where I cut it back last year, and I will cut it back to that same spot this year. And what I do is I just come in like this and just snip it off, just like that. And if the plants weren't diseased or anything, I put them in my brush pile and mulch them. And if they are diseased, I throw them in the trash. As promised, here are some of the visitors to my Jeana Tall Phlox. Here, a red-spotted purple butterfly is enjoying a snack. Look closely in this clip and you will see the bumblebee making slits in the tubes of the flowers in order to get to the nectar in the plant. That's because they don't have the long proboscis that butterflies and hummingbirds have. A tiger swallowtail is enjoying a meal of sweet nectar when a bumblebee tried to bully him off the plant. The butterfly showed him who was boss. This hummingbird clearwing moth seems to be enjoying the Jeana Tall Phlox for a meal. But wait, here comes that pesky bumblebee again. And once again, he was unsuccessful. Perhaps he will be more successful in this courting ritual. Plant some Jeana Tall Phlox. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Bye.